You've seen the headlines, right? Everyone's kind of freaking out about AI-generated deepfakes and how they're a threat to, well, everything we think is real. But what if I told you this isn't a new problem, not even close? What if the power to literally fake reality is an ancient mastercraft?
Okay.
Let's get into it. Here's the big idea we're going to unpack today. That perfect reality-bending lie, it's not some new thing that popped out of Silicon Valley. No way. It's a tool of power, a really, really old one. You could even call it an art form, one that's been quietly shaping our world for thousands of years. So, to make our case, we're going to become historical detectives for a bit. We're going to look at four totally different artifacts from four different moments in time. Each one is a clue, a piece of evidence that shows a hidden, masterful hand has been manipulating the story of our world all along. All right, our first stop takes us all the way back to ancient Egypt, smack in the middle of the chaotic 18th dynasty. What you're looking at is a piece of a limestone monument. And yeah, it looks like it shows Pharaoh I, who came right after King Tut. But the real story, the lie, is literally carved into the stone. So, get this. When Pharaoh I grabbed the throne, his position was super shaky, like civil war is about to break out shaky. To lock down his power, he didn't just raise an army, he hired a team of master artisans, and these guys had a secret weapon. They didn't just tear down old monuments, they used a crazy combo of acid and special plaster to perfectly erase the old pharaoh's face and recarve I's face in its place. Think of it as the world's first architectural deepfake. And that's the absolute genius of it. You know, a farmer walking past the temple wouldn't think, oh, that statue looks different. No, they just see Pharaoh A's face, looking like it had been there for 100 years, solid and permanent, just like the gods. The lie just became the truth. And it worked. It stabilized an entire empire. Okay, jumping forward in time now to the heart of the Italian Renaissance. This next piece of evidence is this little oil painting. But wow, is it vivid. It shows the Duke of Milan, a guy named Ludovico Sforza, viciously murdering a diplomat. The detail is just insane. And it is a complete 100% fabrication. So, the real story? The diplomat died of syphilis. Not quite as dramatic. But Sforza's enemies had this painting made, and they didn't show it off in a gallery. No, they secretly took it to King Charles VIII of France and presented it as evidence, like a photograph from a crime scene. It was the perfect excuse the king needed to invade Italy. And that was the hack. It wasn't just a painting, it was a weapon. The technical skill was so mind-blowing, so photorealistic for its time, that it just short-circuited anyone's skepticism. I mean, how could something that looks so real be a lie? Well, the French court fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Charles marched his armies, and this one fake image kicked off 60 years of war that basically redrew the map of Europe. Okay, artifact number 3. We're now in the Industrial Age. This is a glass photographic negative from the Second Anglo-Afghan War, and it seems to show something absolutely shocking. Imperial Russian soldiers standing over the bodies of dead British troops in Afghanistan, an event that never ever happened. You have to remember, back then, photography was seen as this magical, truthful medium. The camera cannot lie, right? Well, the forgers used that exact belief against the public. This photo is actually a composite. It's a mashup of different pictures, actors in a studio, a separate landscape photo, all blended together on the negatives. This fake atrocity photo got leaked to the London papers, the public went absolutely nuts, and Parliament pretty much immediately voted to fund a massive invasion, all based on a lie. And now for our last piece of evidence. This one is from right before World War II, and it's different. You can't see it, you have to hear it. It's a recording on a wax cylinder, and it's the voice of a world leader, saying something that could have changed the course of history. German intelligence actually commissioned this thing. They took hours and hours of FDR's radio speeches, and with this crazy custom-built machine, they didn't just cut and paste words, they cut and pasted individual syllables. They created a perfect, completely seamless audio deepfake of President Roosevelt declaring war on Germany. The plan was to broadcast it all over the US, create total chaos, and guarantee America would stay out of the war. So what stopped them? The agent carrying it to the radio station got hit by a bus in London. Seriously. That's it. A traffic accident. a recarved pharaoh, a fake painting, a composite photo, a fabricated voice. We're talking 4 different time periods, 4 different technologies, but there's a consistent, almost unbelievable level of mastery behind them all. So, who was doing this? This is where you start to wonder, right? Could there be a connection? I mean, just imagine for a second. What if there was a secret guild of the world's greatest artists and forgers, passing their skills down through generations? Let's call them the Atelier of the Eidolon. These weren't starving artists. Their clients were emperors, popes, and spy masters. And their weapons weren't swords or guns. Their weapons were chisels, pigments, and chemicals, the weapons of perception. And if a guild like that really existed, you just know they would have kept records. A secret master ledger of every job they ever pulled off. A kind of history of lies. We'll call it the Codex Umbra, the Book of Shadows. Can you just imagine what you'd find flipping through a book like that? An entry from 1648, maybe, explaining how they created fake etchings of a peasant massacre just to help Cardinal Mazarin speed up a peace treaty? Or you flip ahead to 1898 and find out they altered the blueprints for the USS Maine for William Randolph Hearst, helping kickstart the Spanish-American War. The list would just go on and on, a secret history of the world written by its greatest liars. So what does all this secret, ancient history of deception, have to do with our modern-day panic about deepfakes? Well, that's where it all comes together. This is the big takeaway. The Atelier's work was basically the analog deepfake. It was an elite skill, super expensive, and only available to the most powerful people on Earth, who used it to target other powerful people. What we have today, the digital deepfake, it's just the democratization of that ancient art form. Now, anybody with a decent laptop can be the pharaoh rewriting the statues. And the target isn't just a king or a court anymore. The target is us, all of us. And that really gets to the heart of it all. We're so scared of the AI, the algorithms, the tech. But this whole history proves that the technology has never been the real weak spot. The vulnerability has always been us. It's our brain. It's that deep, primal desire we have to believe what we see and hear. That's the flaw that's been exploited for centuries. So I'm going to leave you with one final question to chew on. That fake pharaoh, he became the real pharaoh, and his dynasty ruled for years. The fake painting, it started a real war that killed thousands. When a lie is so perfect, so masterful, that it completely replaces the truth and actually builds the world we end up living in, is it even a lie anymore? Or is it just a new reality?
Please like and subscribe.